You spoke on the evolution of the relationship with General Counsel as a topic at the event. So how do you think General Counsels can push for more value without damaging that relationship?
So I think it's a multi-faceted approach. There's no one right answer that you can say this is what you must do. It depends on the type of work that you are looking to have support on. If it's something that can be easily commoditised, so any law firm could do it, that's a different conversation to where you're looking for a trusted advisor. And I think the important part is to work out what is your sweet spot as an organisation, and what law firms can offer to you as a service. And I think that dialogue and that transparency, historically, of course, law firms saw themselves as the lawyer in the hot seat, and that the in-house legal community was very much a secondary support model almost, and that the board of directors would go straight to the outside counsel for advice if they had a problem. Now that's completely reversed, and it's the in-house counsel that is in the driving seat. The in-house lawyers work where you're doing stuff that requires internal knowledge as opposed to the expert advice you need from an outside counsel. And it's working through those that I think is the critical part of it, and seeing how that can progress and how you can get value. The law firm still has to make money, otherwise it's not going to stay in the business very long. And you have to acknowledge that. It's about making sure it's a fair allocation of what the right work is.
So how do you think that nearshoring could play a bigger part in the industry?
Sure. So nearshoring for me is really a realisation that just going to the low-cost centre is not a right answer for an in-house community. Going to India or the Philippines or Malaysia, in and of itself is not the answer. It's not just shipping it somewhere else. It's about finding what is the right processes to follow. Critically, there often isn't a process in an in-house community because you know each other, you sit next to each other, you just get on and do it. You can't just expect that to be replicated in a foreign jurisdiction. The need to be near the people to help them build that rapport, to enable them to spend time on a regular basis, have members of the team there with them. If they're 8,000 miles away, there's a cost implication, there's a time zone implication. There's a cultural difference oftentimes, and actually there's a pricing point to make there, which is that whereas a few years ago there was clearly a massive price differential, I think now that's changing. I think that parts of the UK are now very competitive when you add it all up. Parts of Europe itself are very competitive, and an in-house community has lots of work that needs support that doesn't necessarily need a specific legal training or a particular practicing certificate of a particular jurisdiction. They just need people with skills to support them in doing the work. So finding that right balance is critical. HSBC is in the process of building up within my team a centre of excellence in Sheffield to enable it to provide a nearshore solution internally. Over time, some of that work may well be then outsourced to an outside provider, but we need to have the right process to do, and it needs to be the right place. I haven't even thought about where that might be. It could be in Malaysia, in the Philippines, it could be in Ireland, it could be Northern Ireland, it could be somewhere in Europe, frankly. I'm not that fussed because it's not a question of needing specialist legal advice on the black letter law, it's having lawyers who know what they're doing.
How did you decide to choose Sheffield to locate your centre of excellence, and how did you move your processes there?
So Sheffield was picked for a number of reasons. I mean, if I'm honest, there's a historical connection with HSBC. Midland Bank obviously was the precursor to HSBC in the UK. Its headquarters were in Sheffield. We're a major employer in the city, and we have the infrastructure of an organisational perspective, the space, the capabilities of the procurement function. There's many there as well. And as our client, it's good to be co-located. It made sense. It's a lower cost location than London. The communication between Sheffield and London, it's very easy to get up to Sheffield in the morning, have a full day there and come back in the night if that's what you want, or to come down from Sheffield to London. Many members of the team come to London as well. And the pricing therefore made it work, and the ability to spend time with them. It was, as I said, the confluence of the factors.
And in the next few years, what do you see as the trend in the relationship with General Counsel and the outside advisors?
I think the evolution will continue. That it is a continually evolving relationship. I think there is a number of factors. One is I think that there is going to be continual mergers going on. I think we're going to end up with some very large global firms that will be able to offer services at a good price point. It's not just a magic circle or equivalent in the US sort of game. I think there's a tranche beneath that. The DLAs of this world are already beginning to make those steps forward, and I think that will continue. The pressure will be there. I think that the rules of engagement are going to continue to evolve. Richard Susskind's work is, I think, a precursor to where we're going to end up with this commoditisation, or at least the parcelling up of the way work is done. Already I've had Magic Circle law firms come to me and position work where they work alongside a provincial firm in the UK, precisely because they recognise they cannot do the work they want that's available because they're just too expensive on their own, but want to continue to provide relevance, recognising that there's a danger if they don't continue to do regular work, their relevance to the bank would disappear. So I think these are all aspects that are going to continue to carry on as we go forward. I think there is still a long way to go in the debate over pricing. I think people talk about value billing, and yet actually when they come down to it, they just want cheaper bills. I think there's a lot of resistance to fixed price because they feel that law firms are going to pad the bill as a security protection, and actually you're not going to get value out of it. And the billable hour, frankly, while we all complain about it, is actually quite easy to understand. It's easy to explain to people that it took this long, and I negotiated a discount on the hourly rate, so we got good value, quote unquote. So I think there's still quite a way to go on that. And it may take the alternative business models in the UK for a large organisation to step into that. The cooperative is just starting some of this stuff at a different level, but you can see the beginnings of how that might change, where they're going to use their balance sheet to actually drive business before they worry too much about the profitability of the organisation. I think that may be one of the changes as well.